It's on! Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of our weekly show, which we have not done in a month, called Disney Parks Talk. How did I get way down there? Disney Parks Talk Live. I am one of your hosts, Doobie Mosley. Up there in the corner is my wife and one of your other hosts, Rebecca Mosley.
Hi, everyone.
She's over there. We are the co-founders of Laughing Place Omnimedias. Down below me is our vice president in charge of front page fashion plate, Mike Celestino.
Don't I just look it right now?
Hardly. And down there, our vice president, I had nothing ready, in charge. What are you, Jeremiah? He's our Disney World correspondent. Jeremiah Good.
Wow, I think that's the first time you've ever said that. Hi, everybody.
Hey, what are you showing off today, Jeremiah? I want to get a good look at it while you give us the disclaimer.
This is one of the Fantasia pieces that came out just recently. It is by far one of my favorite shirts, and it is thanks to Roosevelt's, the spokesperson who is next to me, to my left.
The fine folks at Roosevelt's. Thank you for all the stuff. They sent me I believe the term is performance hoodie that I wore the other day, and I am quite fond of it.
Yeah, they are great.
They are cool. I like the. I got to be honest, Roosevelt. I like the hoodies more than the button-up, even. So if you want to send me any more of those, I'm more than happy to take them.
Sorry,
right.
What was that? You just went so high in your volume.
If you want to send me any more performance hoodies, I will happily take them. I love them very much. Oh, hi, Skywalking Through Neverland, and hi, S. Watson. Didn't mean to leave you out. All right, let's get started. There's been a lot going on since we last did one of these shows. We're not even going to begin to try to go through all of it. We're going to hit some highlights, including what I think is our top story, even though it's not a Disney story, and that is news of a brand new theme park. We've known Epic Universe by Universal is under construction in Central Florida. Rumors galore, including some great aerial photography telling us what's coming. But they finally made a bunch of stuff official. So, Jeremiah, what was made official last week?
And by a bunch of stuff, they made everything official. The only thing that we knew was Super Nintendo World was coming to Florida. I don't even think they actually announced that it was coming just to Epic Universe. So yeah, they put out a release last week. What day was this? January 30th, so 6 days ago, just about a week. Pretty much laying out, it seems like they're going to start to lay out each of the lands of the park as it goes along. Epic Universe, as we know, is going to be the first major theme park added to Central Florida. And yes, I know that there have been other theme parks added since then, but major theme park since Disney's Animal Kingdom, and I don't count Volcano Bay as a theme park. What they did was, we've only seen the one concept art up until recently, and then they really laid out the park as it goes. You'll enter through Celestial Park, and one of their big claim to fame, actually two of their big claim to fame, is the expansive world featuring more than 50 awe-inspiring attractions, entertainment, dining, and shopping experiences. For a major theme park, 50 awe-inspiring entertainment attractions, yes. Dining, okay. Shopping, okay. I know, but the park looks beautiful. Celestial Park, which would be the park where the entrance of the park, and I know that they didn't steal this from the Imagineers at the Epcot opening, but putting the park back in theme park was one of their things that they kept throwing out there.
Which I'm excited about. I saw some laughing at that on Twitter, but I love the park aspect of theme park, so that's exciting.
Oh no, it looks beautiful.
And as I recall, that part is called Celestial Park. It's the kind of that first expanse that you're going to encounter when you pass through the Chronos, which is your portal into these various universe. You pass through it into the Celestial, and then from there you'll branch out into the others. Skywalking saying they're most excited for the Wizarding World aspect and for the Dark Universe. The Dark Universe celebrating the creatures of Universal things. We're going to see new ways of realizing things like Dracula and Frankenstein. So there you go. And yes, okay. Oh, skywalking. Shocked, I tell you, that Mike has those merchandise.
I should disclose that this cup is in fact courtesy of our friends at Disney Products.
Oh, very nice.
What just happened with your volume, Mike? You went from like not being able to hear you at all to like you were crystal clear for a second.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you are.
this right here on the screen is the portal that will bring you enter through to enter the world of the Wizarding World. I was just we're going to kind of jump here, but I was just at Universal Studios Hollywood and got to do this portal into Super Nintendo World, and it's a really fun way to transition from one area to another, because it really did kind of cause you to pause and just immerse just enter in and get totally immersed into this new environment that you're going to step into once you get through the portal. Because really, once we stepped through that portal into Nintendo World, the rest of the park really just vanished, much more than I even expected, with the way the design was. I don't know if you guys found similar, but I was blown away by how much I felt like I just kind of stepped into a different universe.
Yeah, I don't think the portals for Epic are going to be quite as much of a warp pipe as Nintendo is, but they definitely have the different steampunk clocky type feel. You know, you'll walk into Celestial Park that's going to have Starfall Racers, a dual launching roller coaster, which will be really cool. And then their other two big things is the carousel that very interesting, the Constellation Carousel.
Yeah.
The grand centerpiece of Celestial Park. Explorers of all ages will take a fantastical whirl aboard constellations that guide forward, backward, and even make 360-degree rotations throughout the Milky Way. So that's definitely going to be a fun take on it. And then, of course, there's Gideon's favorite area, the water play area.
Mm-hmm.
But that was all they really talked about for the park itself. They gave us the hint that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, is going to be kind of a split between the two ministries, the 1920s that we know from the Fantastic Beasts, and more the modern day that we know from the Harry Potter films. Super Nintendo World, we know that we're going to have Mario Kart, we're going to have Yoshi, that's only in Japan. They don't have it in California. And then, of course, the Donkey Kong coaster that we've been waiting for. And that, I think that's going to be the sleeper hit of the park until whatever they announce for Dark Universe actually happens. And I think that land is going to be where I spend most of my time. Probably Mike also, right? You'll be hanging out with me in Dark Universe.
Yeah, very excited for that.
Yeah. And we don't know anything about that. I mean, I've heard rumors. We've seen, like Doobie said, lots of aerial photos, but nothing's confirmed. And then, of course, the last land, which everybody's kind of jumping all over, is why they're doing a How to Train Your Dragon, the Isle of Berk land. And they do have a live action Harry Potter or How to Train Your Dragon movie coming out pretty soon. And everything I've heard about that, it's going to have a coaster. And then I understand that we're going to have a show and a dark ride. And these are just the rumors that, but the show and the dark ride are going to be lifts from the other Universal parks outside the U.S. But yes.
No, go ahead.
But everything in there, it's going to be a whole new world, so to speak. And I'm very excited for it. I find it funny. I mean, I understand how they're releasing it, and Celestial Park isn't like the I can't wait to go to that. It'll just be the fun, and I think the coaster will be great. But I'm guessing that they're going to do like Super Nintendo World will be the next announcement, and they're just going to do a weekly or bi-weekly announcement of each of the lands with some of the details. So we won't know everything until probably very close, and that's summer 2025 is what the latest information is for it.
Well, we will be doing an unboxing of the Epic Universe.
That's where it went.
Item. So we're letting our teenager do it, so he has to finish schoolwork first, and then we'll be doing an unboxing And as Jeremiah said, it does sound like, based upon what literature came with the item, is that they're going to be kind of doing a slow reveal over the time ahead, getting us excited for each aspect of Epic Universe. I'm so intrigued by this whole Celestial Park and the way that these are various lands within Epic Universe. I'm very, very curious how it's going to be priced, how it's going to be kind of where the way, I honestly, just how it's going to break out, because that's been a lot of speculation and rumor. It's so close to the convention center in comparison to other theme parks, and so just how much is that playing into design aspects as well. I'm intrigued to see where it's going to go, and right now that is such rumor and speculation. That carousel really caught my eye, though, because it doesn't have the typical connection at the top that carousels have in that concept art, and to talk about them being able to be 360 and to ride backwards and all this kind of notion. I'm intrigued by the idea that it just is kind of the mechanism seemed to be below, right? Is what is the design and the concept. So it'll be very, very interesting. And this is another aspect that I'm intrigued, because we currently have seen them connect Harry Potter Islands of Adventure aspects with Harry Potter with Universal Studios.
They will definitely not connect.
There's an entire interstate in between Epic Universe and the Universal Islands of Adventure, and I'm curious if they're going to at all address that idea, because I think they could eventually, if they wanted to have a Harry Potter package, they could. It could be an elevated experience like we saw with the connection between Star Cruiser and you only had it for a very, very small amount of people, and it was incredibly unique. But it's not totally off the table as impossible.
Well, that's one of the main concerns right now, is the transportation to that park.
Can I interrupt you really quick? Because I don't think everyone necessarily knows. People think of Disney World, one big cohesive thing. Just a quick explanation. Universal Studios has the park and City Walk and IOA. That is one cohesive unit. And then there's a few hotels right around there, like the Hard Rock and Portofino. But then there's others. Volcano Bay is a drive away. And Endless Summer and the one we love that I can't think of the name, Cabana Bay, is a drive away. And this new park is even a further drive away. So this is not one cohesive, all-encompassing unit as it is for Disney World. This is kind of pieces spread around a little bit. Not like, 10 miles away, but there is definitely interstate, freeways, streets, shops, 7-Elevens in between the various aspects.
The two hotels that were built on the Wet and Wild spot are the closest currently, and then there is going to be a hotel actually built inside the park.
Right.
It's that has been one of the comments and one of the big concerns among everybody out here is they don't really have a transportation hub. That this park is going to have its own parking structure. You can't just park at the Universal parking and take it over. So it'll be interesting to see how that's all works out. I mean, I one of the things that I always used to hear when they built Animal Kingdom was it took guests away from the other parks. So I think it'll be very interesting. And I'm sure Tony also thinks this is to see what the attendance will be like at Universal for the first year of Epic being open, because I think it will be, a little less crowded in the original park and in IOA than it will be over at Epic.
And that's the other aspect of Epic Universe that is, as theme park enthusiasts, we're all waiting to see is the impact on attendance. Do we see this pull people from Disney World? Do we see this pull people from Universal, or do we see this bringing in people who maybe aren't otherwise interested in what these other parks have to offer? Or, if you go to Florida with a week in mind, how much of it ends up being parceled between Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Legoland, Kennedy? That's kind of where we're all speculating and wondering now, will Disney have to answer once Epic Universe opens? Will they need to have something that people feel compelled to see while they're visiting, Epic Universe? So it's going to be an interesting, exciting time as theme park enthusiasts in Central Florida. I always enjoy the theme park wars. I remember when Islands of Adventure opened and all the speculation and all the expectation regarding that versus the reality. Same with Harry Potter. So once again, we'll get to see that kind of situation evolve with this.
Great. Next summer. No, next summer in a year. You know how you say things. Next, you don't really mean next. You mean the one
18
after
months
this.
ish.
Not this summer. Next summer. All right. Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris has a hotel that is opening, and I'm sure someone could explain to me why a hotel is getting this much attention, but they are promoting the reopening of this hotel like nobody's business. So we've got our own Luke Manning out there right now, who is covering it like crazy, doing a fantastic job. His videos are fantastic, even if it's not playing for us right here. You can see that on our YouTube. So I'm hoping that when Luke returns, we can actually have him on the show to talk about this from firsthand experience. So for now, I'm just going to say we've got tons of coverage up on our site, including this wonderful 8-minute video tour of the hotel. We've got articles on the rooms, as well as other stuff going on in Disneyland Paris right now. Stay tuned next week, and hopefully Luke can come join us and talk a lot more about what he is experiencing. But speaking of hotels, let us come back to the West Coast here, where we had two people covering, more one way or another, covering the opening of a redesign of a hotel here in Southern California, and that is the Pixar Place Hotel. So, Rebecca, I know you were actually down there for the actual grand opening hoopla, so maybe you can talk about that and the hotel itself.
I guess I would just say that the Pixar Place Hotel is a beautiful love letter to Pixar fans. It's like, as I feel like they said, we can't have everybody come visit Emeryville, so let's find a way to bring Emeryville to everybody. The artwork throughout the hotel is beautiful. They have concept. It kind of takes you through that whole animation process there at Pixar. The way that they've done their storytelling entry into the hotel. When you first get in, you have sketches and wireframes, and then you move on to some of the concept art, and then you don't have fully rendered character images until you're there at the front desk. So a really nice way of kind of taking you through the process. Throughout the hotel are all sorts of beautiful little nods to the characters. Like you have here in this picture, you can see two different types. You have the Heimlich, represented in the sofa, but then off to the right there, you have the dino, whose name is, I don't know, because I haven't seen that one, in the floor. And this is something that you actually have at Pixar Animation Studios, are character silhouettes in the floor of the studio. And so I thought that was a really neat idea that they, brought from Emeryville. They also, the signature icon of this hotel that you see when you first enter, the Pixar lamp and ball. They really want this hotel to be a location where, as the Pixar family grows, it makes sense for other characters to start to appear within the hotel. So rather than select a key character we already know, like Woody or Nemo or something, they went with the kind of foundational characters of Pixar, the Pixar lamp and ball. So as these new films come, we'll begin to see them. Thank you, Tony, coming in and saying, Arlo. So, and the mobiles, as Skywalking points out, those mobiles that you were just showing, they are stunning. Mike, I know you had an opportunity to hang out quite a bit at the hotel. What jumped out to you?
Yeah, I finally got to see the finished product on Friday, I think, and hung out in the lobby for a bit. Really enjoyed the background music. I was talking to Tony about that. Got to meet Bing Bong, and I got to see Joe Gardner perform in the stairwell there from Seoul. And yeah, really liked the little entranceway area as well. So I was pretty impressed. I kind of got to see it take shape over the months as they changed it over from Paradise Pier. But I'm pretty happy with the final results.
As someone who, Doobie and I used to date night at Paradise Pier Hotel back in the day. Actually, the Pacific Hotel that became the Paradise Pier Hotel. And it's amazing the transformation that this hotel has undergone. That back entrance, which really was the main entrance most of the time, because you park in a parking structure and then you would come in. You didn't come in typically through those doors that are right there off the main street, because you were parking in the parking structure. And that hallway always felt like you were kind of coming in some sort of secret sneaking back entrance or something. There was like a little soda shop there and a little grab and go. But now it's this beautifully inviting entryway. The sliding glass doors are lovely. The artwork all along the way, the couches. They have a light table off to the right side as you enter, where you can play with lights and color and really explore. And I agree 100% with Skywalking Through Neverland that hopefully we will see these ornaments, these mobiles in some sort of merchandise representation, because they really are stunning. That the music that Mike referred to, you can find it on Spotify or YouTube Music, whatever streaming service you like, Pixar Place Hotel. And one of the neat things is that lobby, the lighting will change to reflect the movie score that's playing. So you'll have kind of colors that match the palette of that particular film and those characters from that film, and that it shifts through as the album plays. So just, yeah, there's a great vibe. The hotel has this just great vibe, and that's carried over into the Great Maple restaurant, which that's who does the food for the hotel. It's now done by an outside vendor. It's this company, Great Maple. They have a couple of locations in Southern California, I think San Diego and down at Fashion Island, and known for their maple bacon donuts. But we ate lots of other things there. We had the cinnamon roll donut, which was amazing, and it's about this thick. And if you've ever had Tonga toast at the Polynesian down in Florida, the French toast here makes that looks like a sampler size. I was blown away by the size of the portions. Honestly, at Great Maple, just about everything we ordered, you could very easily have shared the entree between people.
Unless you're a teenage boy. Yeah, unless you're a teenage boy, then you
unless you're
figure
a
out a way to
teenager.
get this entire steak down your throat. Yeah, we ate there.
All
My
10
son-
ounces.
That is a huge steak. He's like going, I can't believe how big this is, yet it just keeps disappearing. Gideon and I had breakfast there, which was fantastic. I had the chili kille, which I know Rebecca had as well when she ate there. Gideon had this big mass of beef, and then we shared a cinnamon donut. And yeah, I was really, really impressed by the food. And I was also really impressed just by the way the restaurant looks. Now, I've been jealously, here, let me show the chili kille really quick, but I've been jealously looking at pictures of the Summer House, the new restaurant in Disney Springs. And I have not been there, but to me, it feels like this restaurant. So I'm anxious to go and see if I'm right. But this restaurant is just so open. You can see her raising the windows there. These windows span the whole width of that wall. And when they're open, the whole restaurant, is an open air restaurant. Obviously, there's a roof, but it's open air, which is just such a great, bright feeling. And we sat outside, but being able to just look all the way through the restaurant, it didn't necessarily feel like you were outside. And yeah, I loved it. The only complaint I have about it is it's pricey. I think that steak, I believe, was $47. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's $47. The chili kille was considerably less, but it was still, it's a fairly pricey restaurant. But, it's theme park food. You know what you're paying for before you go there, so it's your choice whether to go or not. But should the price be okay for you, you're not going to be disappointed in the portions or the quality, in my humble opinion. Just something, Jeremiah?
Is there still a 13th floor of the hotel?
You know what?
That's a great question.
I didn't pay attention. I took pictures, so I'll send you a picture of the elevator bank, because I took a picture of the elevator bank, but I didn't even think to note that.
Yeah, I forgot that that's one of the few hotels that actually has a 13th floor.
Yeah.
It was originally, was it owned by Asians or just catering to that market?
No, it was owned. The Pan Pacific.
Yeah, Japanese.
I'm sorry, the Emerald. was what it originally was, and then it became the Pan Pacific, then the Pacific, then the Paradise Pier Hotel, then the Pixar. See if we can change it again in another 10 years.
On the pool deck now, though, Jeremiah, they've added a really nice collection of seating that we have pictures of in our roundups with a fire pit. So really nice viewing area for the fireworks. There's going to be a quick service restaurant, quick service like kiosk there. Like I say, all the food locations are operated now by Great Maple. So the coffee shop downstairs, the coffee bar downstairs, that Quick Bites location up on the pool deck, these are all going to be from Great Maple. They also have a collection of games now on the pool deck. You can play something in, it's like a beanbag toss. So we've got full video and pictures of the hotel. It's a Pixar Fest. I mean, it really is. And that's the other thing that's going to be intriguing to see is they kind of offhandedly mention a uniqueness to being a Pixar Fest guest at the Pixar Place Hotel, but that was about it. It was kind of like, and be sure to pay attention to us when Pixar Fest rolls around. But so it'll be fun to see what rolls out then.
They don't even have the prices
I
for
know.
the Great People on there. Like I would look at it like I want to know. Nope, they're not even telling you the prices.
But I
it's
wanted to know too,
only
to be sure.
$2 sign.
We have them in the article. I
also took a picture of the menu when I did the photo post when it first opened.
Yeah. So
yeah, if someone, Kyle, if you or someone can find that price, I hate to say it's $47 if it's not actually $47. So I looked at that menu too. I know we have a picture of the menu. It's not in our Great Maple article.
In my.
$45.
Okay, well then that's
Plus
fine.
tag.
I want to be accurate. $45 is a world away from $47.
And
if you don't have that $2.
And if you and another nice thing is you do get validated hotel parking. So if you want to eat at Great Maple, you will get your parking validated there at the hotel, not downtown Disney parking. You have to park in the hotel parking and eating at the restaurant, and then you receive I want to say it was 3 hours validation. That's also included in the article, but so keep that in mind if you want to dine there.
Let me also be even more fair. So when we ordered, these donuts, I'm like, I can see the donuts over there. How much are the donuts? She said, oh, it's $18 for 3 of them. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. And she said, or you can just get 1 for $6. So they do sell the donuts individually, and it's at $6. This thing is huge. That's actually a good price. So
we shared it amongst the 3 of us.
Yeah, so that is definitely the way to go if you're on a budget and still want to experience this great place and one of their specialties.
You said it's 18 for 3 or 1 for 6. Can you get 2 for 12?
Probably.
Yes.
I know, it's amazing the way that works.
I wonder how many 4 would be though.
Don't be silly. They don't sell 4. That's just
oh
buy
man,
a steak for that much.
That French toast looks great too. I want to go back and try that French toast. But my chili chili was so yummy. Got it without the meat, but the restaurant is great. We used to, like Rebecca said, we used to go to both the Summer Tree and then the PCH Grill all the time, and I would happily have made this now our 3rd location there to go to all the time, but don't live there anymore. All right, so Pixar Place Hotel now open. As there's still some construction that seems to be going on with some of the rooms there, but if you book now, you will definitely get a Pixar themed room. They are not booking the rooms that aren't yet converted, but there's still some converting left to do. And I just want to make sure we mentioned, but dang it, this is the highlight to me. Bing Bong is now doing meet and greets at the hotel. I think that's pretty darn awesome. And Joe from Seoul, the very first, to my knowledge, and no one has proven me wrong, walk-around character, because you can just go up and talk to him just as if he is Joe. He's not, he's not a musician. He's Joe. So the first walk-around character that also plays an instrument. So he is, that's cool. Never seen this before. If you can think of one, Mike, I'd appreciate it.
I'm thinking.
So I just love that. Here's an entertainer that also does it as Joe, not just as whatever, his real life.
No half donuts. No half donuts.
Well, if you go with me, I'll split the price with you. So sure, yeah, that'll work.
Is there an annual pass discount?
There is an annual pass discount. Yes, she asked me if I was annual pass. I believe the people next to me asked if they were DVC, and she said no to that. So, but I do know that they offered the annual pass discount.
Sorry, I thought of a character that plays an instrument, but do you count Galactic Star Cruiser?
Yes. Well, yes, I do. The only reason is those are original characters, so they don't have to match a movie, but that is the closest. Thank you very much, Mike. I'm so glad you thought of something. That is the closest. But to me, that's more like a Dapper Dan. You know,
Okay.
they're playing a character, but they're not a character you already know that you go up to and expect to, you know, from knowing them in the movie. So very close, but not quite.
Okay.
Oh, can I just share my favorite moment from this event?
Yes.
Okay, so we're at the opening of Pixar Place Hotel, and Mike Celestino picked up on this right away and shared it in our team Slack. But it was adorable. The Disneyland Resort president, Ken Potrock, was talking about what a delightful hotel it is, and how he just had a wonderful, wonderful time staying there. He had stayed there last night, and he didn't get any sleep because the view out the window is so beautiful. It's so, you know, you just keep looking out the window all night. But I had some friends who were staying there, and they shared pictures from their room, and I totally agree. I would also be staying out and looking, staying up and looking out the window. But I just thought it was a funny moment that here you are at this hotel, and its selling point is I didn't get any sleep.
And you have your own private entrance into the DCA.
Yes, you do. You do have your own entrance over to DCA. Yes, you do.
So, you know what? I was kind of skeptical about Pixar Place Hotel, that this is just going to be some slapdash thing, but I think they did a really, really good job with this. I think it really brings it closer to Disneyland Hotel level in terms of being a true Disney hotel, not just a hotel with a Disney name on it. So, yay! Happy to be surprised, even with Pixar. So, all right, next up on our agenda, Rebecca and I, Mike has done this already, but, you know, he just went there to come. Did you go with your sweetheart, Mike, to Sweetheart's Night?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, well, Rebecca and I have been married longer, so we count more. Rebecca and I went to Sweetheart's Night last week and had a fantastic time, and we're going to talk about it. I've got an article going up tomorrow. That is, Mike has done a great job covering it from a more general perspective, but Rebecca and I did just a strict trip report article. This is what we did, and, you know, kind of a timeline of just our night there. And this is our very first Disneyland After Hours event. Our goal was to eat and kiss, and we succeeded on both accounts. No, we wanted to eat. We wanted to not be stressed, so we weren't worried about getting pictures with characters, but we did have a picture spot that we wanted, specifically Herbie. And other than that, just to see what it's like at one of these things. And fantastic time.
I hope they gave you a picture that got the whole photo op in there, because it looked like they zoomed in really close.
They did get the whole thing. So yeah, each picture spot they take 3 pictures. Did a really good job of posing us. What are you pointing at?
Did that just get announced, Jeremiah?
Jeremiah, speak. You're on mute.
So we can only see him.
We just got something from Jurassic World for a tease for July 2nd, 2025.
Is that
What's
the
that?
movie? I think it's a movie.
Have we heard anything about another Jurassic movie? I have not.
Yeah, it's being written by the guy who wrote the original. I know, I heard that.
I hope if it's already written, because that's July 2nd is next year is a little fast. Sorry.
It was not a whole Herbie. It was like the front half of Herbie. So, and then you would sit there and take a picture. So it was his front half. He wasn't flat, but it was just like as if they cut off the back portion of the car and didn't have it there. But yeah, so we went and we took our picture with Herbie. It was over by Autopia. You could also be thrust into Luca. They had Perfect Picnic, the Mickey and Minnie picnic from Runaway Railway. Let's see.
They had a haunted mansion scene where you could
That's right.
be with your dearly departed for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and a Princess Tiana's storybook.
Yeah, Perfect Picnic out in Toontown, but those were the 2 that we got.
The one we giggled at was they had these 2 enormous thrones over at Carnation Plaza Garden. Well, I don't even know what it's called now, but it was Carnation Plaza Gardens. Did you happen to see those during your travels at the event, Mike?
I'm trying to. You mean it's a fantasy fair?
Yeah, they were just 2 enormous, elaborate gold thrones.
Yeah, I did see that.
It yielded chuckles from from Doobie and I. I think our favorite thing we ate that night, Doobie, was the ravioli.
For sure. This was out in Toontown. So a quick tip. We were sitting there just before the event, trying to plan what to eat, and we said, okay, let's check out mobile ordering. And the mobile ordering for Toontown, this was about 8:30, showed a return time of 10:55. And in my mind, I'm like, they just haven't really turned on mobile ordering yet. That's kind of ridiculous. But Rebecca wisely said, let's just book it. We can always cancel it later, but let's get it on the books. And it never came back to a normal time. And when 10:55 came around, we went to Toontown. And there was a humongous line to buy food, and we were able to just walk right up to the mobile order window and pick up our food. So if there's something you want, check out the mobile ordering early and get your order in, even if it's much later in the night, because you can save yourself a lot of time there. Because
when we checked, I want to say when we were checking the mint julep area, because they had some unique beignets, when I had checked it earlier in the day, it was around 11 o'clock. Return time. Now the event doesn't officially start until 9, so so it's not like it was that much later into the event. However, like I say, if you're looking at the menu and there's things you want, go ahead and map it out and use those as like your anchor points for the evening to kind of nosh your way around the event. And yes, it is a ravioli shaped. It is heart-shaped ravioli, and the neat thing is the ravioli pasta itself is red. So when you bite into it, it has like a little redness to the little edging underneath the breading too. So a really neat little kind of Valentine-y, sweet hearty kind of dynamic there. It was spicy too.
Perfect. Yeah, good spice. And then the other thing we got in Toontown with that was the strawberry donuts with this cool strawberry topping, which this was my second favorite thing of the night. I really enjoyed this. We also had some of the strawberry shortcake churros. We had the cream puff over from Rancho del Zocalo.
Another tip. If it's cold, Rancho del Zocalo has amazing heaters at the tables. So take your food over there and sit in the warmth.
Yeah, I have a feeling Mike's experience doing this and ours was a little different. As Mike, I just picture Mike running frantically for 5 hours while we're just strolling along in this romantic.
That's how covering every Disneyland After Dark event is, because you only have 4 hours. But I wanted to say I was disappointed because they had Indiana Jones and Marion together. I want to say probably for the first time for characters walking around in the park. And I actually wanted to get a photo with them, but they weren't doing photos. They would walk through Adventureland and then go up on top of the Jungle Cruise queue and like just wave at people from up there, which was disappointing.
We had fun watching all the people walking underneath them who had no idea they were even there. Yeah, they were up there.
Yeah. Kyle, if you're watching, I'm sorry, before we get Kyle, if you're watching, I forgot to change the caption for this picture to put her name in there. Can you do that for me?
Jeremiah had a thing.
Also, if you don't have tickets for Sweethearts Night, you're not going to Sweethearts Night. It is sold out for the remaining nights. So.
Yeah,
but next year's coming.
It's one of the Disneyland events that sells out very quickly upon its ticket window opening. So if you are interested in it, be aware of when the we announce here when tickets are coming up, when they're going on sale. So it's a spring. It seems to be an annual event now in the spring, kind of before and after surrounding February 14th. So it seems to be kind of that mid to late January into February selection of dates. So you'll want to put it on your calendar.
And when picking your night, so when we saw Herbie, we got to the front ready to take our picture, and the cast member working the front said, "You having a good time?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's not as crazy as I expected to get these pictures." And he's like, "Oh, it's much different on the first night." So if pictures are important to you, but you're not an influencer and don't need to get it all right away, don't go on that first night. It was much. We waited maybe 15 minutes for Herbie, and while we didn't wait for any characters, looking at the lines, they were long, but they weren't as crazy as I've heard about. Yeah. So, and
my impression of these events might be tainted for only ever going to the first night.
Yeah,
try a different one, Mike.
Let's talk about Jollywood Night, shall we, Mike?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it felt like you were waiting 25 to 30 for each experience you were having throughout the throughout the evening if you were not like us and just bouncing around when you saw no line and go, that's the one I want.
Yeah, and Tiana and Naveen were just hanging out in front of their restaurant. There was, I mean, literally like 2 people I think took a picture before us. My performance hoodie there is courtesy of Roosevelt's, and Rebecca's awesome sweater that she got a ton of compliments on.
I did.
It's from Box Lunch. I love that sweater so much. So that's from Box Lunch. Thank you, Box Lunch, for that. And then, so one of the cool things I loved about Sweethearts Night is, at least on the night we went, not influencer night, it was actually full of sweethearts. There were couples everywhere, and it was just lovely to see that.
Nice.
Some families, and that's fine, but the vast majority was just couples. Like at one point, when I got my Dole Whip, my strawberry shortcake Dole Whip at the end of the night, Rebecca took a seat, and I went to get that by myself, and I felt like, a loser. I was the only single person in line. I was surrounded by couples, and it's just me going, I do have a ring. I'm not here by myself. So, so it was nice to be in that environment. And, real quick mention, Disneyland is a particularly special place for Rebecca and I. We met at Coke Corner at Disneyland in 1996. And, we dated there often. I proposed to her there. And so to go back there 20 years later and have Sweethearts Night, it was just really special. I'm so glad we did it. I'd be happy to make it an annual tradition. It was a ton of fun. And of course, we had to get this picture. This is where we met, Coke Corner. And as we learned just last year, the address of Coke Corner right there is 217. You can see that up there. And that is our son's birthday, February 17th. So
keep going up, though, Doobie.
We're not going up to the light.
We're not going to the light bulb to this.
What I want to see.
So we thought that's cool. We met, and it, foretold, whatever the verb is, the birth of our son, February 17th. That's pretty cool. And Sweetheart Night is special. If you have a sweetie and you want to have a different romantic night, and if you like pink, there is so much pink. I was in love because pink is my favorite color. Check out Sweetheart's Night. You won't regret it.
It's a great date night. If you're, I feel like it's an event where it's designed to be a date night where you're going on attractions and then you're eating and then you're going on attractions and then you're popping by a character. It's that kind of thing. It's not like the Walt Disney World Christmas party or Halloween party where there's like all this entertainment specifically focused, for that theme. It's like there's little nuggets here and there. But it's mostly a vibe. You've got like a little band over here, a little band over there. It's not like there's a big show or a big special fireworks or thing like that. It's more like just a little bit of a sprinkle.
I wanted to say I think they did do fireworks at Sweethearts Night up until last year, but I'm pretty sure what happened was, based on my experience, it was getting canceled so often that they just kind of did away with it because I'm sure people were disappointed that part of what they were paying for just didn't happen.
Yeah, no, that would be frustrating. And I assume based on the weather we had, there wouldn't have been fireworks. And based on the weather that Ben and Alex had when they went last week, there wouldn't have been fireworks. So I could see where that might have been a problem. One of the things, by the way, that we discovered during this trip, we ate at Tiana's Palace during park hours, and she just kind of pops around as if she owns the place and just eats and talks to everybody. It's pretty awesome. But check out her outfit. So here's Tiana as she appears daytime at Tiana's Palace there in New Orleans Square. But then for the party, look at her. She's got like sparkle. She's all dolled up, but it's still kind of that flapper style dress. This girl has quite the wardrobe. I love the fact that Tiana has all these different outfits now that we've seen her in. And there's going to be another one with Tiana's Bayou, because I know the images of her were like in kind of khaki explorer pants. So yeah,
that was something they told us about Tiana. She's the fashionista princess. So I expect new costumes to keep coming, new outfits. She'll update her fit regularly, as the kids say these days.
Okay,
not me. Okay, let us move on from Sweethearts Night, and I'll let my sweetheart, as well as you, Rebecca, talk about Lunar New Year.
Oh, Mike C was there for Lunar New Year.
I know,
for a little bit.
In the beginning.
What takeaways did you have from Lunar New Year, Mike?
It's the year of the dragon this time, which I thought it was interesting because Mushu is there every year, and he's the dragon. So they had to come up with other interesting things to do, like this dragon that's in the lobby of the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa.
That looks a lot like the dragon from It's a Small World that Mulan's flying.
Oh, it does. That's funny.
Mike's Donald Duck, courtesy of Roosevelt's.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, he was. There you go. See?
And really nice, by the way. Mike, you're smiling too much to be wearing that, but it's really nice.
Donald is angry on the breast
Okay.
pocket there. Not that there's a pocket, but just right there.
Since I was there and I don't have as many dietary restrictions as Mike, I jumped around and tried various items that they have available because they have numerous kiosks throughout the performance corridor. You can buy a sip and savor pass and then go around and try different things. It was all very tasty. I was actually a bit surprised by the portion size. For me, if I'm going to the park for a single day, I would enjoy getting a pass for me and a pass for a friend, and then sharing things so I could try a lot more items, but smaller portions of each item, if that makes sense. So yeah, this was the egg roll that's based on the very popular birria style beef dish that had been a big hit at Cucamonga, Cucina Cucamonga, and then was ported to a ramen dish for San Francisco, and then for Lunar New Year they present it as a egg roll. So over at the Grand Californian, in addition to that beautiful dragon, they also have some authentic entertainment that is really stunning. Kyle, as far as the method, I was a fan of the new scan versus the tabs. Before, people would be very nervous, especially locals who would buy it at the beginning of the festival, and then they would be holding on to it throughout the festival. They were worried that those little tabby things would fall off and become null and void or whatever. But now you just have the little pass. You have the little thing on the back. When you peel this, it's a 4-digit code. Mine's already used up, so it won't do you any good to know it. And then you would punch it in as if it was your credit card. And it took a moment. At the beginning, that very first day, you could tell that they were still, kind of getting used to the programming. But it seems like it would be a much better way moving forward. The other thing, a little tip I realized in my orders, if you're ordering from the main marketplace kiosks, you can make a single order covering all of those, almost as if it's like a food court where you've gone and like pulled your food from various places and then you check out as you're leaving it. So yeah, if you're getting from those kiosks along the main corridor, which they call the marketplace, those can all be ordered at a single kiosk, and then you can go and pick them up throughout the day. You just walk back up to the pick up your order here and get your order. For the cast members' sake, they put them in location by location. So if you start to pick and choose from among it, then they'd have to delete it all and go back and put them in location by location. At least that's what happened with my order. So keep that in mind if you're going to place an order. What are you asking, Mr. Jeremiah? You look so perplexed. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
Nope, you're still muted.
I'm all of a sudden having doobie problems. No, I was shaking my head more at Kyle, just the poking the bear with the scanning thing. And it's funny, every other place that does a food festival now is doing the scanning. They're no longer doing the tabs or anything. So that's why it's interesting that this was such the big breakthrough for this one, where SeaWorld I was just at for theirs, and they scan and they actually hole punch still, which is
seriously?
silly also. Yeah.
I like the tabs. You know how much you have left.
The other thing I got to see, which Mike, you've probably seen it year after year, and I wondered, is it the same as the processional? Does that change at all from year to year, or is it
again? They'll include the character that relates to the year that it is. So if it's Year of the Pig, 3 little pigs were in it or whatever. But I'm not sure. I didn't watch this year's, so I don't know if they did anything special.
It's Alexa letting us know stuff. Yeah, the processional is about 7 minutes long, so it's not a parade. It is appropriately named a processional. It moves very slowly. So when you see the step off time, that's referring to when it's going to begin its journey down here at Hollywood land. So do not feel like you have to rush immediately out to the parade route if you are at Paradise Gardens. You still have plenty of time because it journeys very slowly and beautifully through the corridor.
Did
I
they
like
have the
it. It was
Great
nice.
Wall dancing?
No
with it,
Great
and
Wall, no
King
dancing
and
San
all of them?
Francisco Bridge, no dancing Chinese takeout box. Nope.
Next year's the Year of the Snake. What will they use for the Year of the Snake? Are they going to use Ka? Maybe Jeremiah. Okay, so it runs through February 18th at DCA with a little bit of Grand Californian thrown in, Lunar New Year.
Yeah, my wife and I are going to go Super Bowl Sunday to use up the card that I have.
Which is so confusing because I do not recall any televisions at DCA.
No, but he's going to stay for the nighttime show this time.
They should project the game on the mist screens. That'd be pretty cool.
I remember doing the same thing last year, and I think the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness trailer came out during the Super Bowl, and I was like watching it on my screen. That was the only thing I cared about.
The parks, Super Bowl Sunday at all parks years ago used to be the best day to go. And then the advent of the iPhone really killed all of that.
Yeah.
The irony that Mike Celestino cares not one whit about the game, yet is always there for the "I'm going to Disneyland" moment at the park is hilarious.
Yes, I will be. By the way, I will be there the following day to see whoever the winners are in their cavalcade at Disneyland.
Yes. Since the game is in Vegas, they should be going to Disneyland.
Growing up in Southern California, Super Bowl Sunday was when my best friend's family would always go to Disneyland. That was their annual family trip to Disneyland was on Super Bowl Sunday.
I do have to admit, we did go to Disneyland one Super Bowl to watch the game at the Neon Cactus at the Disneyland Hotel back in the day.
Yes, we did. The Neon Cactus.
And that was a lot of fun.
I have their last served Guinness beer in a scrapbook.
Literally the beer.
I did. I took the can, I cut it up, I washed it, and I put it in a scrapbook, and I have their final can of Guinness in a scrapbook because that's the Disney dweeb I am.
Okay. All right, moving right along. Jeremiah, were you there for the final day of the Country Bear Jamboree?
I was.
Tell us how magical. Were you there for the final day of Disneyland's Country Bear Jamboree?
I was. I could not. So one of the few times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to be that nerd. I went through every box I could to try to find my final day Country Bear button, which I ended up over the years probably with 5 or 6 of them. Couldn't find it for the life of me, but I did go. I actually went earlier in the week and enjoyed the show back to back. Walked out, walked right in, no problem at all. When I walked up on the final day, the line was kind of on the porch off to the side, so it was a little bit busy. Went in. We have the video of all the bears that all the boys that turned me on, turned me down, which turned into the most awkward sing-along I've ever been in the room for. But I went during the day. I did not stay for the final, oops, we broke it, here, walk through and get a poster tour, which I'm a little sad about. But
yeah, in a new tradition.
Yeah. When I walked out of my show and was walking down, the line for Country Bear was all the way back to the shooting gallery and kept going. And that was down the porch, around, and back around again. So wow. It was a bit busy. I know Benji also was there, I believe, later in the day and said it was pretty crazy. When I went, it was enjoyable, but in true me fashion, the Country Bears haven't been the Country Bears since 2011 or 2012 when they edited their show down. So
He's that guy.
By the way, Sarah over at Skywalking, first time she changed it to watch. Country Bear Jamboree at Disneyland was the last day it was open at Disneyland. So this tells me
Sarah,
we need to. So
if you would have gone more often, it wouldn't have
I
closed.
know, exactly. Well, I just find it funny that was so she finally experiences Country Bear Jamboree. It closes the next day, and her husband rides Star Tours. I mean, Richard rides Star Tours like a bazillion times, and he still has yet to be the rebel spy, as it were. So it's like there's some odd dynamic going on over there at Skywalking.
As Jeremiah briefly alluded to, the Country Bears did not end as planned. They stopped working, and so what they ended up doing is letting the guests, everyone in line, just walk through, and they gave them a poster. But those who were trying to see the very last, obviously someone saw the very last show, they just didn't know at the time.
The cast members later that night.
The very last show. So
yeah, my family was there, and they were also at Disneyland for its final.
I was a little sad, they didn't do that annual pass tradition of letting us walk up on the stage and walk behind the stage and see the bears.
I did that at AP night.
I did that also. I don't have any of those pictures anymore.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, I have ours.
Real film time.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Someday we'll develop them. All right.
I have ours.
Just kidding. Epcot is now doing weddings. Jeremiah, just if you're in the market, the weddings in the park are a thing. And
Maybe he's trying to marry off poor Jeremiah.
I know how wonderful Mike can attest to this. Being married is the epitome of happiness. Am I
right,
Mike?
It is the second best day of somebody's life. I know.
I try to spread the marriage virus around as much as I possibly can.
Thank you for saying it's a virus. Yes, they've opened up some new wedding locations, including right in Celebration Gardens. This is an absolutely beautiful shot. I would love to go to attend one of these, especially with the ball in the background, Spaceship Earth lit up. But I'm guessing that this would probably have to be 10 o'clock at night or so to do all that setup, or very, very early in the morning.
Yeah, I bet it's like 4 a.m.
I have attended an early morning wedding in Epcot, and it is an early morning, but it's worth it for the beauty of the park and the wedding that happens there.
I'm trying to make sense of all the flowers there. What do you think of that, Mike? Did you see that? Look at that.
Are they in the shape of something?
It's pretty scroll work, but if you're walking there, isn't it just gonna,
Oh yeah, you got to play a little bit of hopscotch.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on there?
All right, Mike, what's the latest on Disneyland Forward?
I wanted to say just offhand comment combining two of the things that you just mentioned. When my wife and I were at Sweethearts Night, we saw a young couple, probably very early 20s, using a disposable film camera to take
the cool
selfies.
Thing now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where do you get that developed? Can you still get that
developed? You have
to
mail it away.
Okay.
I was at a dinner the other night for some of our friends who provided us with some nice clothes, and they had like 3 actual film cameras that they were taking pictures with. I was like, the time it takes to mail that away and get them back at this point, and the cost, because I know it's not inexpensive to get that developed.
That's awesome.
We have the ability to get instant pictures of incredible quality like this, and the children of today are using disposable cameras.
Well, they were using Polaroid recently.
Meanwhile, AI is being developed.
I hope the children of today aren't doing that, because this was a wedding.
Also, I should really make it a career goal of my wedding officiating career to do one in the parks, because that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
You should advertise that.
I'm willing to do weddings in the park. That should be
Disneyland Forward. So I've been going to these city council meetings at the Anaheim City Hall, which is, I discovered, about a 45-minute walk from Disneyland. Not too bad. And I find them very, very interesting. I think this most recent one, I want to say we didn't learn a lot of new stuff, but I still thought it was really cool to be there and hear both the park's presentation, the city's discussion about it, and then also the public comments. You know, you have people coming and supporting the project or being opposed to the project. Most of the people in support I found were either local business owners who were happy about the idea of getting more business, union laborers who were happy about the idea of getting construction jobs building the new expansions. And then so a few Disney cast members actually spoke as well. And then there were some people who lived in the neighborhood or who were opposed to, you know, the increase in traffic or more tourists coming, and just in general seemed like they didn't like Anaheim's relationship with Disney at all.
Well, they were there before Disneyland, of course. You know.
Right. Yes. They would have to be up there. But it's super interesting, and it's open to the public. You just walk up and go, hey, I would like to go and sit in on this meeting. I think there's also a live stream though, so I don't know how much of an advantage it gives you.
But I will say, if you don't want to do either of those, follow us on Twitter, because Mike does a great job of like live blogging via Twitter, and then we also do write-ups afterwards. But being able to follow along, you really do get the bullet points and the feel of these events from Celestino. Mike, you do a great job of kind of taking.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the other cool thing about this most recent one that was different about the previous one I went to was that the mayor was there, the mayor of Anaheim, who I've seen at a couple events before, but she was actually like sitting up there on the dais, like in the middle, like presiding over the proceedings, and the public comments went on for hours. I actually had to leave to go do Sweethearts Night. It was the same day, that 21-hour day that I did.
That was a crazy day for you.
But they were like, this is probably going to go on for a couple more hours. And I was like, well, I got to go and get ready to cover this other event. But she, you know, the mayor was there, the other council members were there, and they were willing to sit there and listen to everybody's thoughts, either positive or negative, on Disneyland Forward. And it does seem like everybody who I heard from or talked to seemed like it's a good chance that it's going to get passed, that they're going to allow this project to go forward. No pun intended. But I think they just have to kind of go through the process, the motions of getting it approved by everybody. Yeah.
Mike, can I trade you? You come out for a Central Florida tourism one, and I'll come out for their.
So you want to write for a theme park website. You're going to be sitting in on government meetings. How much fun is that?
It is actually really interesting. I find it very interesting, I would say.
All right, next up, Rebecca, PowerUp Cafe, a new joint that opened up at Universal Studios, not in Super Nintendo World, that you got to experience.
In a building that's a facade. I want to point that out. As somebody who worked there, that building was never meant to hold anything. Like even a shop, they had a candy shop in there at one point.
It's shortly after you enter the park. If you're familiar with Universal Studios Hollywood, you enter the park, you walk down that main thoroughfare, and it's like there's Hollywood and Dine, and then a little market shop with Hello Kitty and Minions, and then this location right here on the corner. And man, were these some good eats! They had, I still would. That calzone, I don't know. Okay, it was a dreadfully cold and rainy day when I went, and this calzone that I enjoyed was part delicious treat and part appreciated hand warmer. So it was nice and hot. Those little patches on there are little bits of cheese that they use to be the little spots on the mushroom. This one that I got has spinach inside. The red one is pepperoni inside. The location also has PowerUp beverages that are a lemon lime soda with boba pearl pops of citrusy flavor. And then they give you a little, yes, the calzone gave me an extra life, definitely. And then they give you a little cube of flavoring to put into the drink that then changes it from the clear lemon lime to some color, depending on which one you choose. They had like a star, they had a fire flower. So there were a couple of different choices you can make, and those each have a different flavor to them. You can see the review, the little bit of the write-up on LP. I'm actually, I was really surprised But what really floored me, honestly, was the price on the beverage. It's a lemon lime soda that you drop this little flavor, $13. It was a lemon lime soda with a little.
Is there alcohol in it?
No.
It's steam sodas. That's the big thing. Like,
Wait.
You know what would be cool? Take a picture of yourself with the theme soda with one of those little disposable cameras. That'd be pretty hip.
Rebecca, were they in warmers or were they actually making them in
the calzones?
Yeah, well, everything that was in there.
It really is 2 calzones, a popcorn flavor, and then these beverages. That is the warmers in there for it. And so my assumption is, but I will say the balance of bread to filling was phenomenal. That filling came all the way out. It was a very filling dish, even though the pocket was just the size of my hand. So I was very much impressed with that. And like I say, it's theme park food. So I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. The popcorn there is yummy. Gideon enjoyed it, but it has a glitter to it, so it's like golden. So the popcorn it's like gold. It's pretty wild, but it didn't impact the flavor. It doesn't change the flavor at all. But it's a nice. I was thinking it would be a great thing when I walk into the park, because it's really easy to grab and then just eat on the go. Because I didn't need to dip it in anything. The calzone was fine. I wouldn't have minded having a marinara to dip it in. It doesn't come with any dipping sauce. But I didn't feel it needed it. The filling balance with the bread was not too dry. It was beautiful. They also have a pretzel there that came with a trio of dipping sauces, a mustard and cheese, a mustard sauce, a cheese sauce, and another sauce that isn't coming to mind. And it looks like a fire flower. It was unimpressive. It wasn't bad. It just was. It's the design that was compelling about it. Not really. It wasn't particularly one way or the other as far as pretzels go. So, but nice addition. I thought, something simple. Interesting that it's like up top when Super Nintendo World is down below, and they were constantly telling guests entering, this is not Toadstool Cafe. This is not where you can make your Toadstool Cafe reservation. So I heard a lot of that dialogue as I was there. So that was funny. So yeah,
that is funny.
Yep.
This is not Super Nintendo World,
right?
I heard it was small, but dang! All right.
Wow.
And then once again, our dynamic duo of SoCal each did a little bit of Knott's Peanut celebration. Mike, why don't you start us there?
So Rebecca went the weekend before, so I kind of tried to figure out what was left that what kind of angle could I take going, and Knott's had provided us with 4 meal coupons because we had 4 people going in my group on Saturday this past weekend. So I thought, well, why not do some food reviews? I can't eat anything there because of my allergy restrictions, but my guests, my friends and my wife were able to try out all the foods, and we did a little rating system, and I got some quotes from them about the different specialty food items. They were all macaroni and cheese themed, as you'll find out. That's the big food theme this year for Peanuts celebration. Why I'm not sure, but it was fun. It was a fun day, enjoyable to watch people eat and write down what they're saying about it.
The surprising thing to me was how different the mac and cheese was between the locations, because it wasn't, when I saw the menu, I figured it was like, because you had things like macaroni and cheese in a cone with pulled pork on top, or macaroni and cheese with Swedish meatballs, or macaroni and cheese inside a burrito with beef. But it wasn't the same base macaroni and cheese. The macaroni and cheese I had in the pasta pinwheel that was then coated in a beautiful layer of Alfredo sauce, it was different than the mac and cheese I had inside the waffle cone and that was different than the mac and cheese I ended up having over at the Boardwalk Barbecue as a side over there. So they had a little bit of a tweak to the mac and cheese base that you had with the various locations. But yeah, it was a lot of mac and cheese. And in fact, I forget where we were shortly after, Mike, and it was like mac and cheese was on the menu. And I was just like, no, I can't.
S'mores, no more s'mores.
No more. But the peanut celebration, what I got to touch on, because I was there the first day, was the Franklin exhibit. The peanut celebration focus this year. Each year, I guess, up in that town hall, they'll focus on a different aspect of Peanuts worldwide. And this year it was the kind of the history of Franklin. We're about to have a new short coming out through Apple TV, and then they were highlighting a project that is named after the youngest cartoonist to have a strip, and the Armstrong Project. And it is to provide scholarships and academic support for historically Black colleges and universities. So they talk about that at the location. They talk a little bit about how Franklin came to be part of the Peanuts family. And he's there, and you can take pictures with him. And that was fun. And I had a good time.
Last year, that exhibit was about the relationship between Peanuts and the space program, which I had never really considered before. But
There's
yeah, they always do a good
show
job.
and everything out here at Kennedy Space Center about that.
Yeah.
Next week, I'm looking forward to our special segment where Rebecca and Mike Celestino will each debate on how wonderful a park Knott's Berry Farm is. That's going to be pretty awesome.
I'll join in on that. I love Knott.
Really? Okay. I'm going to put it out there. I have been hearing from you and from others what a wonderful park Knott's is. And I went to Kings Island a couple of times over the past year, and I was very impressed with my Cedar Fair experience there. But I will say, I was not very impressed.
Hold on. Let's jump in the Wayback Machine to the don't go on the first day problems. And you were there on the first day? Wasn't that what you said? You were there for the first day of it?
I was there on the weekend.
There you go.
I will grant you, I was there on a weekend. But my frustrations are the app, and it's a new app.
It's a brand new app.
They just uploaded the final new app.
Oh,
what
okay.
that was still the old app, just kind of catching up. No, I just downloaded the brand new app.
Because there was no paper map. And I don't know the park very well. And the map that they had mounted on the wall, I swear they just took a paper map and put it up on the wall.
All theme parks now. If you go to Paris, yeah, you're in trouble.
No, you should have seen this. It was literally like little gray buildings with a line. And there was nothing on here that gave me any indication as to what the gray buildings represented in the little square I was looking at. So me trying to navigate the park was very challenging. And the lines everywhere were quite long for food. I was really surprised by the length of the lines to get food. And they have their show on this stage that looks directly into the sun. So it's very hard the glare was quite impressive for most of the show times for that. You know which stage I'm talking about, right, Mike?
Yeah, the Calico Mine stage.
Yeah.
The hanging stage. Oh no.
So there were quite a few things where I was just like, I am not seeing the amazing theme park experience that everybody else has been selling me on over the past year.
See, what confused me is Rebecca gave me this opinion, and I'm like, did you not go on Soapbox Racers? I mean, this is a perfect theme park.
Good night, folks. Thanks for joining us.
I saw a Soapbox Racer. They have one up in a little shop over by the Boysenberry Pie Ride.
One of the original.
Did you do the corkscrew? And go ahead, Mike. Sorry for that stupidity.
I would really honestly recommend that you guys come down with Gideon and do over the summer and do Ghost Town Alive, because it's one of my favorite theme park experiences running these days.
I think you're right. I think Gideon would very much enjoy that. And I will say the entertainment that I would stumble upon here and there was this jazz set up by the barbecue joint. They were phenomenal. I could sit there every night, all night. And I know Kirk and the Hillbillies.
Crazy Kirk and
the Hillbillies perform there, and I know they're amazing. And as I was walking by there's a stage with they have a little barbecue stand. It's right there by the bird cage. They were a fantastic bluegrass duo were performing there. I mean, so don't get me wrong. It has amazing offerings. I just was expecting a little better customer service experience than I got.
I will say, if you guys ever go and see Crazy Kurt and the Hillbillies, you'll be like, no, this isn't amazing. Seeing him as Billy Hill and the Hillbillies, great, because we love everything. Crazy Kurt is really like creative bluegrass music.
We've seen it. Well,
no, it's
hey,
phenomenal.
Rebecca.
We used to go watch some of the boys perform up at a pizza joint up in Newhall because they would perform traditional. I'm a bluegrass fan, so we'd go up there, and we also followed Kirk when he performed in a
Elvis.
No, not I. No, sadly, I've never been able to see him do a full Elvis set. It was when he was in a band that was like Zoot Suit music. And he did that over at an Italian joint down in Newport. And
I will say, when I went and tried to sit through one of their sets when I was there the last time, it just got
Rebecca,
awkward sing-along time.
Oh no, I'm way too much right in my wheelhouse. Wheelhouse.
Rebecca loves bluegrass. So, and we have seen Crazy Kirk and the Kirk Billies or whatever play, and not very far, and enjoyed them. Yeah,
Crazy Bill and the Kirk Billies.
But Knott's does have some great entertainment. I like the food at Knott's too. Yeah, I agree with Rebecca though. The one area in which, at least in my experience, it lacks is that customer service. But and also that's where we were when Bob Chapek got fired, so it'll always be a traumatic place for us. A couple of quick things. Mike Celestino got to go see the return of the greatest parade at Disneyland since 2022, and that is Magic Happens. How's it looking, Mike?
Looks just as good as ever. Honestly, I got a real nice spot. Had a great time. No complaints. Got a nice video up.
Got that video on YouTube. Which reminds me, while we were waiting for the start of Sweethearts Night, I saw Mickey's Mix Magic for the first time. Not very good. And then the last thing I wanted to...
You really didn't like it. It was so funny how much he didn't appreciate it.
It hurt. It was an attack on my sensibility.
We were sitting at Small World Mall, in fairness. That's where we were.
Yeah, on Main Street, it's a party. Like
that's where we were.
I haven't seen it in a while, Mike, but I can remember the last time I was out on Main Street and it was everybody was having fun doing that.
Yeah,
I like Mixed Magic.
I don't like fun, so it's not going to work.
There you go.
we were at Small World Mall.
And the last thing I want to mention, Haunted Mansion, as we know, is under construction at the Disneyland Resort. And so there's lots of walls up as they are transforming the area. Take some time and go see those walls. They have some pretty cool... The changing posters. That's
wow, they draw see on the changing walls? That's cool.
They actually have changing portraits on the construction walls over at Haunted Mansion. So go check that out if you get over there. And since you're in the area, don't forget to ride the canoes. Our son rode them 13 times on our visit there last week. If he ever went and they were closed, he would be depressed. So ride the canoes, keep them open, keep them popular. And so our son always has something to do when he goes to Disneyland. 13
I mean,
times.
they've made it 68 years or however long, right? It's not going to be.
Oh no, they were gone for a good chunk.
They removed him before. So
Okay.
yeah, he did it 11 times when he went a couple months ago, and this time he's like, let's just go from open to close. So literally from 10 to 4, the hours they were operating, he was either on the canoes or at the potty or getting some water. 13 times. I'm so proud. So proud. Anything else, anybody?
I want to give a shout out to Tiana's Palace for still having spicy food. Spicier than you would expect from a theme park menu. I am happy that their gumbo is still that. We enjoyed it very much. We ate there twice during our trip. Gumbo,
And the pickles.
cornbread, the house-made pickles.
Pickles are the bomb.
I loved my po' boy. It was good. That's some good eats over there. But like I say, just a little spicier than you expect from a theme park menu. And we all were, when I went to a tasting before it officially opened, pretty much all the theme park riders were like, yeah, we'll see how long this lasts. And I'm happy to see that it's kind of keeping that authentic New Orleans Cajun heat to the dish. So love it.
Yes. Hopefully that lasts. You know, a lot of times a new restaurant will open with some really interesting stuff, and then about 6 months later it gets dumbed down. So,
but the people around us were all commenting on how much they were enjoying their meals. So that gave me hope that we would continue to see that menu for a while.
Can I ask the boys a question? You don't have to answer this, Rebecca, unless you want to. I'm not going to answer it. I'm just curious what the boys think of this. What do you, and I'll start with you, Mike Celestino, what do you anticipate for Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Do you think it's going to be really, really good and a hit with the fans, or do you think it's going to be a disappointment? And then I'll ask you the same question, Jeremiah.
I guess I'm hoping it'll be really good. I think I'm being optimistic about it. I remain optimistic about it, cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
I don't see any reason, unless they get real cheap on it. But it seems like, it's got animatronics. That was one thing I was worried about. That was going to be all screens when they first announced it. So it seems like they're doing animatronics. There's a lot of space to fill in that ride, though. That's my other thing that I'm worried about, is like there's just so much, as far as like the scenes go, there's a lot of space to fill.
And think about how much space more we have out here in Florida.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, Jeremiah?
As much as I've been saying how WDI has not missed anything major recently, I think it's not going to be what they hope it to be. I think mostly because they're doing what they did with Galaxy's Edge, where it's like, hey, this isn't the movie, this is the sequel to the movie, and nobody cares about the sequels to the movie. Nobody cares if it's not set in the movie. People are waiting to see the stuff from the movie. I know that I'll probably be writing it like 12 times while you stay dry, Doobie, at the media event out here, and I'll be the guy stuck filming it over and over again, and I'm okay with that. But I don't know who said it. Somebody told me that at some point Iger had gone on a walkthrough of it, and he came off and said that it was boring. I don't know where that actually came from, if it was
that is
quote, but
pretty sure that is not official information that we are passing on here.
That's why I was like, but just like Mike said, there's a lot of space. The storytelling, we've seen the storytelling of things that are like, hey, is this going to be worth the continuing story? Is it going to be something that draws us in? Splash Mountain was a great ride because of the show and the ride. I don't know if it's going to be both combined will be the perfect for Tiana's, but I'm hopeful.
All right.
It's going to be. I'm very interested because there is a deep affection for Tiana, and so therefore there's a very high bar of expectations because she's cherished. And it's the first time we're seeing I think it's the first time we're seeing a thrill ride for a princess, right? I mean, because I don't think of Maelstrom. I don't think of that as a thrill ride, is it? I mean, I guess it is as
Mine Train is probably more so than...
Which one?
Mine Train.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no, that's true with Snow White. But even that's more dwarfs than Snow White.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I'm very interested in kind of that dynamic, because it feels like this is where I'm curious to see the experience versus what we see developing. It feels like the ride is being redesigned so that as I walk up, I don't get the same intimidation of the drop that Splash had. That just visually, as I'm seeing it now in development. And granted, like I say, right now it's got a lot of scaffolding and everything, but it's just my perception is with all the greenery and the additions that they're having, that drop is not kind of taking on that, woo, look at this big scary thing ahead of you. So I'm interested to see if that's how it's going to be for real when everything comes down and I look at it. Am I not going to have that feeling? Because then, okay, it's a Tiana ride. And is there going to be a weird dynamic of, whoa, that was way scarier than I expected it to be because it was Tiana and the visual. So, like I say, I'm that's where my fascination in the design choices is.
Well, the final scene, think of how big the final scene was in Splash on either coast with the riverboat and all the animatronics. Like, I don't, hopefully we'll be in awe when we do finally get to see what will be in that final scene, but it's going to take a lot to fill up that space.
Actually, what the big thing that I'm hoping for, that I'm really crossing my fingers that they address, has nothing to do with animatronics or I guess filling the show space or anything. It's there's one part of that ride that kept me from going on Splash Mountain more often, and that's not even the big drop. It is that little dip, halfway through, where every time the water would just come over the lip of the log, and your legs would be submerged, and you would walk out with just drenched feet for the rest of the day. If they could figure out
I'm guessing the logs will be redone. Again, because it is a princess attraction, and Disneyland, they would shut down Splash Mountain for refurbishment every January because it'd be cold. So hopefully they address that and go back to like Tokyo Disneyland. Their Splash Mountain is designed not to get people wet, because over there,
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Tim, you are the smartest person I know. That's the point.
But I think the redesign of the log, hopefully they are addressing it. I know there's been the splashdown area over here in Florida has been kind of redone, but nothing that would stop us from getting as wet as we used to. So hopefully there is something addressing that.
Oh, I'm glad I asked that. I got some insightful input from everyone on the panel. All right. Mike, did you have anything else you want to mention?
I think I'm good. I'll be at DCA on Thursday of this week for the anniversary. 23 years of DCA.
23 years of DCA. Rebecca, anything else you wanted to mention?
I want to say an early happy birthday. Tomorrow is your birthday over there. Nope, over there. You.
It's my birthday tomorrow. Yay, thank you. 53.
When did this happen, Doobie? When did this happen with your birthday? What?
53 years ago tomorrow.
Yep.
I wanted to say I got to go on the Treehouse twice, Disneyland's new Treehouse. I like it. It's pretty cool. The ostrich is really fun in the beginning, and it's a lot of kineticism in there. It's a cool place. One thing that confused me, squish, squish, squish. So you enter the attraction, and you go up, and the first thing you see are these stairs on the right. And then this little tiny sign next to it that says exit, that a lot of people don't see. And then you keep going around to the left, and there are the stairs you're supposed to go up. So the first time I went up it, there were a lot of people going the wrong way, because I presume they just didn't see that sign.
They didn't have cast members stationed there?
They did not have a cast member standing there either time I went. The second time I went, there was no one going the wrong way. Still no cast member, but the first time, a lot of people going the wrong way, which they just must have been the whole time confused. Like, what's going on here? I don't understand this attraction. It just blows the whole story. It probably ruins their whole vacation. So I feel bad for those people.
Ruins their whole vacation.
Dory?
Steers the wrong way. My vacation is ruined.
You go to. Can you imagine going on like Small World backwards and goodbye, hello? It just would ruin your whole vacation. So no, that's not good. The other thing I wanted to say is hi, Charlie. I've learned that Charlie's watching us today. So hi, Charlie. I wish we were going to see you in Florida, but we will not. But I hope you guys have a great vacation. Take lots of pictures. Share them. I love seeing you guys' pictures.
Hi, Tim.
All right,
hi,
folks.
Drew.
Thank you for the happy birthday, Drew. All right. We will be back next Monday, hopefully with Luke, and we can talk some Disneyland Paris stuff. Rebecca will be back tomorrow on my birthday talking merchandise with Becca on Barely Necessities, the Disney Merchandise Show, 4 p.m. Pacific. And then tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, we will be doing Disney Trivia Live. See? Todd Stone understands. I think if you go backwards, you hear it backwards too, yeah.
And some kind of demon gets conjured, I think, if you do that.
Yeah, like Twin Peaks all over again. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. This has been Disney Parks Talk Live. My name is Doobie. I don't know why I said that. See you next time. Rebecca.